Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Leftovers podcast. Welcome, my PowerPoint guy, Matt. Tonight we are rehashing some stuff. We don't have a guest. We're sort of winging it. Sorry about the late start. I actually forgot to link in YouTube and everything else. But here we are. Um, so, what I would like to say is, God bless America. That's it. And how are you doing, Matt?
I am doing well. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. You can put a little bit up on your gain. That's
Put a
about
little
it.
much on my that's a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a little bit better, I think.
Awesome.
Um, that's okay. So I'm going to let Matt quick do some announcements for future upcoming events, and then we're going to jump right into it. I have some topics I'd like to go over, and I think Matt would like some stuff to talk. But it's sort of like a stream of consciousness night, guys. So here we go.
Yep, stream of consciousness
Are you
tonight. Not
ready?
exactly. Yeah, I'm about as ready as I'm ever going to be. I got to go ahead and put up my little some of the stuff I normally do
Oh, I'm
beforehand,
sorry.
but
Yeah, that's right.
no,
Matt
it's
is
okay. We
doing
had a
other
late
stuff.
one of the kids had a late had a sporting event, and
Ah,
so that was really awesome. Went down to the okay, now I have created
you created a black
window
hole of
of
internet.
doom. Hold on.
We've created a quantum singularity. We're all going to die.
That's
Uh,
right. It's and part of that is because I
hello, Dires.
normally don't have this over here. There we go. That's what we're doing. Yeah. So we had a late game, and it literally came down to the last seconds, and so
That's good. That's
uh,
good.
yeah, it's good, but it's also a close game like that can really be kind of nerve wracking, right? Because it's
Oh, yeah.
if it's a blowout, you can just kind of be like, whatever. All right, so there we go. There's enough stalling for time. Good
Yeah,
night,
good job.
everybody. Uh, so this is the schedule. Like I said, for today we are just flying solo, no guests. We might just be jabbering about some of the stuff that we've done recently. We are closing out the month though with Clash of Crits. And on February 13th, we're going to be talking to a special guest, Andrew Park, and we're going to be talking about Daggerheart, which I'm excited. And I'm actually we'll see if it
Yeah.
comes through. I've been chatting with some folks who do a Palladium Rifts game,
Oh, that would be nice
and
to
I
talk to
am
them.
hoping to get
Yes.
at least their GM on because that will be a serious walk
Conversation.
down
Yeah,
nerd
no.
nostalgia lane for many of us.
Yes.
We've played a lot of the Palladium games, so that's really about it for right now. I think from a gaming standpoint, kind of news thing for us is we won't get into any spoilers because this really pretty much far down the road. But last night, or no, 2 nights ago, we recorded what is essentially the last real episode of our Dragonbane Chronicle, right? Actual
Yes.
play. I
We
think
still got to
next
do the
week we're
follow
gonna
up.
do our Back to the Shire episode where we kind of wrap everything up. But we
I
we
just,
we
I,
we
I do want to say I cheated in all my roles to make sure I succeeded and we did the best we ever can. I had one good roll and then I had a few, part of the course I didn't like totally screw up, but it was a long, hard, our games master, Malcolm, is very, very happy we finally reached the arc of the end of the arc of that because it's been good game, by the way, guys, good game. If you want to try it. Um,
Yeah, for the folks out there, either live now watching or later, you know, how have you felt when you have reached the end of kind of a long campaign, right? I'm sure I know for a lot of us, it's sort of a mix. Like you're happy to kind of say, "Yay, we did it," but you are kind of saying goodbye to, characters and storylines. I know we've invested a little
a
about a
lot.
year or so into this, right? Which is
Oh,
which is
yes.
long for us.
It's way
Uh,
long. So
we're
yes, yes. So to consider this, so for me, the beginning of the game, I had much more free time. So I was, especially over summer, I was really into my character. But as Matt is aware, and other members of the party are aware, I was just exhausted. I was coming through, starting strong, and halfway through we do a 2 hour session, and we edit it. I would be dying toward the end. I might be misfire. Sometimes like Sean, are you there? Because I just was just fading. So it took a little joy out of it, unfortunately for me. Regardless of the fact the game, the people like Nathan and Malcolm ran a good game. we had a lot of fun. Even this, I was tired on Tuesday, and we still had fun with. I started the game trying to give away. I'll say this, trying to give away something, and everybody started laughing at me. Just try to. I had a
You
lot
definitely pulled a surprise, and
of pride,
if you
and everybody, but it didn't work out. But we still won. But that's the
right.
thing about playing a long term game is when you get to the end and things like that. Speaking of which, long term games, speaking of gaming in general, uh, I wanted to talk. So, talking to all these people we've had the opportunity to talk to, the people not only play games, but we've had to people who've created games, people who just run games, and people like people who do their own audio and have a narrated game versus like traditional. It's been very interesting. I got to say this, and Jesus, the one guy, who was it we talked to about there's too many games. I'm gonna say it was 3 interviews ago. That's my line.
Too many. Well, I would think I would probably say that that's what a lot of us say, right? There's just too
There's
many
too many
games,
games to play. Yeah.
which is a good segue
Yes, what I'm trying
for
to
this year.
mhm. Yes. Yes, it
See,
is.
we're not drunk, so we're not as smooth.
I know we're not smoothly operating as we normally do. I didn't get to lube the gears, folks, sorry.
That's right. So one of the big things we've probably just sort of, I don't know if we've hinted at it before, but just to let folks know about what's coming in 2025. One of the big things is, so the good news is we are sitting on um, I don't know 40
Too much.
45 weeks of of Dragonbane that needs to be edited and released. So we
I
will
could
probably
die and
be
my grandchildren could listen to that. My kid's 13 and he's not from West Virginia. Well, he's not, we don't
right.
have
So
any kids.
we just released 24, right? And so we get
We're
25. I
25's
just
coming
finished
up because
editing,
yes.
and Nathan's doing his editing. So right, so we're going to end up with 50 episodes. So because of that, because Nathan is really, let's face it, Nathan's the only one amongst our group that can do what Nathan does. So what we've decided to do this year, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense for us to jump into another production, sort of full recorded actual play, um, because we wouldn't be releasing it for ages, and so what we still wanted to do is have something to do, every Tuesday night, something to share. So what we've decided this year is we're gonna double down on our live content. And the idea is to run a series of games because, as Sean said, there's too many games. There's so many games. We'll never be able to play all of them in kind of a long format. And we've already, for the last couple of summers, dabbled in this with our summer live series where we've done Mothership, we did Death in Space, we did Coriolis, right? Um,
Yes, we did.
and
That's a
so
space Coriolis. We did a mothership. I'm gonna say Nathan
Yep,
ran one.
Mothership. Yep.
Yeah.
And so we're going to expand that. So our Tuesday night sessions, probably starting sometime in February,
Very soon.
will become live sessions. Um, and so what does that mean for folks who consume our stuff? Well, if you watch this on Thursdays and you have free time on Tuesdays, well, guess what? We're going to be live on Tuesdays also. And all this material will be on our YouTube page after it's done for watching later. The real difference, or sort of difference, will be in that it won't be a difference, is that our podcast. So what we will do is all of the stuff that we play live will not end up on the podcast stream. The regular AARPG podcast will continue to release every 2 weeks. Dragonbane, and maybe if we have any special, if Nathan and I do some recorded interviews for the Between Two GMs, those might go on there as well. What will happen is all of our live material will go over to our other podcast, which currently still is only on Spotify, and that's the AARPG Live. We're hoping to expand and push that out to a whole bunch of other podcast providers, because not everybody uses Spotify, but Spotify does provide a free with our service that you can have a second one. So all of our live stuff will get ported over to the AARPG live podcast, which is where you can find, I think I've uploaded almost all of the leftovers episodes. So
There's 24 of them.
yeah, so
Can you
I
believe
don't
that?
think they're, yeah, it's a lot. They're not all uploaded yet. And so we'll also put some of our other live material on there, maybe from our cons. That'll end up on that. And that'll keep our main podcast stream just strictly the actual plays that are recorded, that are edited, sound design. Um, so that's what's coming up this year. So we'll be, and that'll be, I suspect that will still be 2 hours. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we will go live right away. So normally we record Tuesday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard
Yeah.
Time. But
So
I can tell you that a good 15 or so minutes,
guys.
we warm up, we talk, we chat, we banter. That may or may not be included in the stream.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, a little late on this, just catching up, but love your Dragon Band campaign. It's been an inspiration for my moment here. Well, thank you.
Nice. Thank you.
Ferret Nuka, and I'm sure that's because of our great GMs, not the playing. So
yeah, that's right. Not us.
So I just want to say to everybody who's watching or will watch this, the reason we started the Leftovers podcast, I know the real secret was so all the rest of my party, my gaming group, can watch how I act publicly on the radio here. So or on the TV, because we always, we have, obviously when you go live, you have anxiety. And you're worried about saying this or saying that and joking around. And but whenever we go live, we never do anything. We're actually more mild, I think, for the most part, not the characters, but how we talk. That's some of the anxiety. So if you do live stuff, believe it or not, you end up being much more cognitive of what you're saying and doing. That's something, because everybody says inappropriate joke stuff to their friends, and it can be anything, but usually about current events, like because people use like dark comedy to brunt the edge of horror. I have to say, I worked in law enforcement 30 years. I was in the Marine. I saw a lot of terrible things, and people will put up defenses and say stuff. And sometimes when we come to game, some of our friends and we're dealing with some tough stuff in our lives, so we say some tough jokes to each other just to brunt the sword a little bit, for lack of better words. I'm saying that for experience. So if you go out there and do a live game, believe it or not, don't worry about it. You're not going to stick both your feet, including your buttocks, in your mouth and just look like a fool here.
Unless that's your stream.
Unless that's your stream. And if that gets you money,
stream, right?
We use only feet, but if you want to use that, go ahead, man. Only dads, whatever.
Well, I think also too, and this is why I'm not sure exactly, and we'll update this as we get closer to actually what the times of the stream will be. Some of it too is it's, I'm not an actor. I haven't really done since high school. No. I was in a play, right?
No,
but
really?
But I used to perform in the band and stuff like that.
Still does.
But it's going on cold is hard. Right? So that 10 or 15 minutes where we banter, we joke, talk about stuff, that serves as kind of as a warm up too. So I'm not sure exactly how much of that will include or whatever, but kind of back to is that, so every Tuesday night for most of this, starting in February, pretty much through the year, we'll be doing live content. We're really focusing on, for folks who are listening, why you want to listen is that we're going to be going through a bunch of systems because I think one thing that's been good about the D&D scandal, and I don't really want to get into all of it, but so I'll look for the good. The good thing is it's really shaken people up and made people start asking, because there's many people who've gotten into gaming who have only ever played D&D. The idea of role playing is D&D, right? That's kind of the, they've probably heard of a few things, maybe Pathfinder, some of these other very close. So so people are starting to ask, well, what else is out there? And like this other, Dragonbane, right? This is an alternative. So we're going to focus on games that have interesting character generation, interesting settings that are not D&D, and we're going to go through those, and we're going to kind of walk through character creation, and then we're going to play short, 3, 4, 5 episodes per, just to give people a feel for the rule sets, for the setting, for the kind of vibe of the game. And so that's kind of the goal. So we can kind of share, and some of these are games that we have played, and many of these are games that we have not played ourselves. So we'll also be learning about these systems as we're exploring them. And I can tell you, we made a huge list, but I will share the short list that we have right now that we've been voting on. And I would also be curious for folks that if they watch this later or even now, if there are particular systems that they are really interested in or that they have had a chance to play and they would suggest to us, let us know in the comments. That would be great. Just want to go ahead and put that up right here. So this is kind of the short list that we kind of came up with.
What, no PowerPoint? Just a list? What is wrong
It's
with you?
just, well, it's in
Are
a
you ill?
PowerPoint slide.
Are you ill? I need to
Hey,
call you a doctor. I can call 911 right now. Just hold up,
No,
everybody. I got to save this
I
man's
had to
life.
remove, I didn't want to bias the viewers. I had to remove the current voting stats from the poll that
Oh,
closed.
yes,
So,
you did.
so
You
we did
did.
this on our Discord, right? But we had a list that was probably 2 or 3 times as long of different games.
Just want to let you guys
and,
know.
and so
I was pushing for Street Wolves and Electric State myself because we interviewed those people. So, but
well, let's see. We've interviewed. Well, if you want to talk about interviews,
oh, actually, we've interviewed most of these
almost
people.
all.
Yes.
Well, we haven't done Deathmatch.
I haven't interviewed
Eat the
Necrobatic.
Right.
You have.
Yeah, Necrobatic was our first interview.
That was you and Nathan.
Yeah,
I'm
was
talking
our
about
first
me.
interview.
Me interviewing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't know if any of these you've had a chance to play them, but they're all very interesting games. Some of them, like the Deathwatch 40K, is an older game that's been around a long time. That's one of the 40K games.
Brutal.
Yeah, so and as far as I know, so Electric State, that movie's coming out in March. It's a little bit altered from the game world. So in the game world, it's the 1990s set in a post-US Civil War. And I just think that developers of the movie were like, okay, let's not touch that hot potato. And so it's like, there was a war between, humans and machines, but it's still that similar world. Deathmatch Island, as I understand, is kind of like a reality show / Hunger Games kind of thing.
It sounds like
Eat the Reich sounds great. I think Eat the Reich
these games
play a bunch of vampires, special forces that are sent into like Germany to kill Hitler or something. So it sounds kind of crazy, weird, different take on, sort of vampire meets what was that movie with Brad Pitt? Those guys, I can't remember. It was a Tarantino movie. I can't remember.
You talk about the Inglourious Bastards?
That's it. Yeah. It's like that meets Twilight or something. I don't know. Just no sparkly vampires. Subversion, which it's a really cool sort of. It is a post-apocalypse, not Earth, but a different planet where the humanoids and no, I'm sorry, I am getting this one wrong. I have so many games. Subversion is a sci-fi game. That's a cool world where it flips the script, where normally you have like magic is challenging science. This one is magic's been around for a long time, but technology has advanced to such a point that it's, for the common person, it's becoming an equalizer, and the people who hold the reins of power are the old like wizards and stuff, right? It's like, and so you have technologies coming around, and so that's a very interesting, and it's also one of those hope punk games where you're playing as guardians of like a community or something like that, or I think they call it like a neighborhood or a community.
Yeah, you got to build a community. That's a big piece of the game. You venture, but you're also building. It's like, what's it like Fallout 4 or something? It's like, you gotta keep your settlement alive, and while you're out there doing stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Dreams and Machines is what I was talking about. That's the one where it's another sort of post-apocalyptic setting where there was a war between humanity or the people of this world and machines, and sort of the aftermath of that. And so that's another one of those. Brendlewood Bay, as I understand, it's kind of like
Not familiar with that.
So Brendlewood Bay, I think you play a bunch of like Agatha Christie characters, like it's like solving a mystery or something. So that could be a lot of fun.
I would totally screw that up. I'd come in as like some like Gilded Age fop or something coming in there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of tea drinking, a lot of good manners.
Yeah, I will not be playing that, by the way. I just want to let everybody know.
Yeah, when we said good manners, Sean was like, "I'm tapping out."
I'm tapping out. I need a break anyway, guys. I need to focus on the live podcast. Sorry.
Yeah. Death Watch 40K. If anyone has not played there is a series of games based in the Warhammer 40K universe. What's interesting and a little bit frustrating about them is every partial setting is a little bit different. So, the rules for total only war, where you play a guardsman, are not 100% the rules of Dark Heresy, where you play inquisitors or the inquisitors' assistants, which is not the same if you play the rogue trader, which is not the same. There's like subtle differences in the rules, but some mechanics stay the same. But in Death Watch, you play, what's cool about that is you don't have to pick like one Space Marine chapter, because the Death Watch is made up from people from all different chapters, so you can kind of have play your favorite chapter Space Marine and hunt the heretic, the demon, and whatever else they hunt everything, the alien.
It's oh god, here we go.
Yeah.
Darcy, Sean's character will end up as a true murderer in the Brentwood Bay. That what? That actually will be Sean. So if Malcolm's running it, you find the corpse of an Irishman, Sean Mahoney, laid on the ground, killed with his potato in his brain or something. That's
well, I mean, this could be worse places to find the potato.
I'm trying to keep this rated G there tonight, but see, I'm self-editing. I'm self-editing, guys. I'm self-editing. Normally I'd say my butthole. Oh, well, too late. There we go.
Yeah, too late. The Good Society, I think, is like it's like a Jane Eyre role-playing game. I have it's if you've watched the British shows.
Who came up with this limey stuff, man? I'm telling you.
I'm very interested. I think that's one that if we do run, what'll be fun is see if Nathan can get his wife Laura to play.
Oh, she would be.
That would be hilarious.
Laura would be good at that if she can get her on. Get her on live.
Oh my gosh! Then we'll have two people we have to watch what they say.
Me and Laura. It's like, hey, just feed off each other. Like when me and Malcolm talk, we just roll into feed off each other's insults, joking around. You get the wrong person. With me, it's like it just degenerates. So.
Necrobiotic, which Sean said, yeah, this is one of the early. You can find that on either on our feed early on, I think, and definitely on our webpage under our other stuff. Necrobiotic is cool. It's like a world where like there is the dead. They're like the undead, but they've been integrated into society as like servants, machines. It's kind of a weird, dark sort of setting. And then Street Wolves is just like pick any cool 80s action show, Miami Vice, Magnum PI,
and anime.
And anime, and throw that together. And you've got what should be a pretty cool action.
You have to listen to this, listen to it. Go find that podcast and let's listen. You could, if you like Dragon Ball Z or Vampire Hunter D or any of the Japanese you can literally, he created a system that you could do that, and it's just sounds like fun. It sounds like not too serious, fun, just gaming. Like you could just roll into it and it'll lighten your heart. Actually, being so silly, that's just it can be so good.
So yeah, I don't know how many of these we'll get through, or which ones we'll do first. We've actually trying to see. There's a couple of them where we're reaching out to the actual authors,
creators,
to see if they would, or guest GMs. So we may have some guest GMs running it. So we're pretty excited. It'll be nice. It'll allow Nathan to play, and also only have to edit one show. He'll still be behind the scenes. We're still keeping him locked in his little dungeon and making him
he wants to be there. He wants to be in that cave. So but that, as Matt said, that's what we've been voting on, and the live stuff should be fun. It'll be a little different, and it'll have a different type of energy, and also it'll be a nice change, because it is, like I said, editing's a lot, and creating a world's a lot. If we get the other people to help do it, like our friend Malcolm, we all have a lot of stuff going on in our lives, and it's hard to create a world and play it. I don't I don't know what that he knows the safe word. Thank you, Darcy. You're a gem tonight. Oh, but it's that's something we're looking forward to. And like I said, try to live gaming is if it's something you want to get into, try it. We're trying to get some people on. I want to get some people on. I talked to Ben at Ping Po Hawk about this, getting some hit because they play video games. That's something we also want to do. We've been focused on the people who creators and people who develop games. We're trying to try something different and just bring some other people in. Um, that's for our show. Now with the live shows, I will say this: if you follow other shows, some of our characters like I am really joking. No, I'm joking. I am taking a step back, unless it's one of our legacy games. I've decided, which would be like Twilight 2000 or Aliens or Sex, Drugs, and Saving Throws. Just because I have a 13-year-old who's very involved and life is life, and I want to be able to focus on one thing, so I could focus on this. One of our friends is also took a new job. So you might see less of us, which you'll get more character interaction because one of the things about our group is we have a lot of people involved in it. So it's a lot of work, especially for a game master. I think it'll make it more fluid for somebody running a live game. Um,
Yeah, so you
um,
might see smaller casts per show. You might not see some faces in some shows. You might see some new faces in some shows, as
that's
we've
true.
talked to either, like I did mention, Nathan's wife Laura might be interested in that one.
There's a couple other people
And we've
too.
reached out to a couple of folks who are in our group who have really not been on the show, but might be interested to step in for a game. So again, might see some new faces. Heaven forbids, we might even try one of those crossovers. I know some of our folks have
Yeah,
taken part in that.
I
I don't
have.
think we've
Yes,
I don't think we've had anybody in a game of our own. So that might be some
I
new
would
ground for
love.
us to break.
I would love to play in the every 3 month episode of Pink Faux Hawk. Gives me plenty of time to play. I'm taking a shot at that. Take plenty of time for me to prepare my character. Dork Day, any of them actually, any of the people we've interviewed of Dorcas was really good. Irwadian Chronicles when we played that. Remember that was fun.
Yep.
They were great. But anywho, let me listen to me talk gab my mouth. Anyway, moving on to from live games. Something I want to say, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just really impressed, and I think there's so many options out there that I just wasn't aware of with type of game systems and typing. So look for something you like. That's what I've learned. I think in 25 episodes, 24 actually, this is 25. Talking to all these people is what I've learned is there's a there's a there's a different apple for each game, different something to bite. Take a bite of. If you don't like it, move on to the next thing. You don't have to stick with one system. You can try something else. Have fun, do it, try it. If you haven't run a game. If you've been running too many games, stop, play a game. That way you get a perspective you've never had before. Trust me. Yeah, you don't have to be the games master all the time. Unless that's your thing, try running. Even you know what? Screw it. If you are the games master all the time, I'm telling you, stop. I know it'll feel uncomfortable. You won't feel like you're in your right skin. You'll feel like an alien. You're possessed with an alien. An alien might be crawling through you. You might feel that. It's okay. It'll pass. You'll enjoy the game. And you get to cause pain to maybe somebody who caused you pain as a game master. It'll be awesome. It's called revenge. Revenge is a great dish. You know, we do it to each other all the time. It's fun to try different things. Hell, Matt's tried different things. I'm not even talking about gaming. It's just talking about alcohol.
Oh,
Alcohol.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of talk about forever GMs and stuff like that, and there are some people who naturally gravitate to the role of GM. And someone who's kind of mostly been a player, but who also has been a GM. I really like being a player, but I get it. I like when I have a story that I think is really cool. Nothing's cooler than having people help you tell it, and kind of live through that story with you. But it is nice to switch it up because it's good to see the other side of the fence, right? It's good to be able to say, as a player, I like these kinds of things, or I like these kinds of ways that a GM did this, or maybe I go, well, I don't really like the way that the GM did this. I won't do that when I GM. So it's good to kind of hop back and forth across the fence and experience
Mm,
gaming from both sides.
fence hopper.
Fence hopper, right? You can't
Yeah.
just the grass is whatever, the
Grass is
dungeon is greener on the other side of the fence. I don't know, but
well, the grass isn't always greener, but it's just different grass. And sometimes it's
yeah.
nice to walk and get different grass. Sometimes you land in poo though, so you got to get back over the fence. I just want to say that right now. I think that's what Matt says is very key. With doing that. Now, I did try and run a game once, and it got co-opted. It became a fun time, but it was turned into a giant clusterfuck of people jumping in, lack of better words. It was funny. It was real funny, but it was my live game I was supposed to run. My first D&D adventure. Well, no, Mothership adventure never happened. But but we, it was a live game, and it was all ad hoc, and we had a blast. Um, Now, game systems. The types of systems. If you like D20, get a D20. If you like, I never liked the Star Wars system. Nathan played it and didn't like the dice. Savage Worlds has a different dice system. It's a D8 and they blow up over a 6, or is it D6, Matt? Do you remember?
What for Savage?
Yeah, Savage. Is it D8 or D6?
So
Because it blows up on a
Savage,
6.
well, it's all of them, right? So
Yeah.
in Savage Worlds, your stat or your skill drives the die that you roll, right? So
Yes.
you roll like D4s, D6s, D8s,
Yes, that's
D10s,
right.
D12s.
And the
I
dice
think
blow up
it's
over,
if you hit the top number of the die or something
they
like that.
explode.
It's been a while, right? They
But
do. They
yeah.
explode.
So which means is you roll a dice again. Now, if that dice tops out, it explodes again. It can get a little ridiculous. But there's
Right.
so many different games. There's just the stat systems. You have like in classic D&D, you have a point system where you roll. Then you have just a point system in like GURPS or Champions. You can advantages or disadvantages. You can make it as complicated as you want. Like current D&D, which is like a cornucopia of like, it's too much almost for me now. 5e was a little much for me, but it's just too much to like something simple like Dragonbane, which one of our listeners tonight follows, which is you have some basic characters and some basic stats, and you increase your stack by rolling a dice. I mean, it's that simple based on what you do in the
Well, I don't
game,
think you can't increase your stats.
not your skill. I'm sorry. I think you can. You can increase your hit points. That's right.
Hit
You
points,
can buy it.
willpower.
Yeah, willpower, but you can't increase your stats. You create your skills by rolling a die, which I find interesting. But even that can get a little like if you play long enough, like we've been playing, you can become an expert in almost anything. Um,
Well, that is a question. It'll be funny when I don't know when we'll actually do our big after action review, probably when we release the final episodes. But I
yeah,
will say, like, no system's perfect. And so where I see a potential issue with Dragonbane is potentially long-term campaigns.
yeah, that's what I see.
Right.
I agree.
So some people play like, multi-year campaign, and you could probably, maybe this is the same thing with D&D or any of these where you just get like really super powerful and it gets really hard to run. And I've heard that about, D&D, about old version 1 Pathfinder, like above a certain level, it gets really hard to challenge the players.
Yeah.
With Dragonbane, right, you long-term play, I think by the end of our I think I don't, it's so funny, I don't have any of them.
Joel
But a
did.
lot of people have multiple maxed out skills. And once you've hit that maxed out skill, a lot of with Pathfinder, or not Pathfinder, in Dragonbane, there are some contested roles, but very few. So once you have a very high skill in something, your chance of failure, is very low unless you're in a situation where you've received, a number of banes, right? Something that makes you roll multiple dice, and that will begin to chip away. But if you're at an 18 skill, you still have, a little bit of a chance to fail, but not a lot, right? And so, and again, there's not, so that's one thing that I see for people that maybe in a long-term game, you might kind of flatten out and just start spending all your time rolling for other skills that just because they're low.
Yeah.
The other is, I would argue that if your group really loves epic, sort of epic encounters, Dragonbane is maybe not your game choice.
No,
And the
it's
reason I say that is that our, most fights in Dragonbane are over very quickly.
well, we have a big
And
group. Nathan,
we
Nathan and
do have a
Malcolm
big
both
group.
said that's an
Right.
advantage in this module.
Right. Yeah. Keeping your player group small would probably help. But with us, with like 6 or 7 players,
And the
most
wizard. Ooh.
combat is 1 to 2 rounds,
Hmm.
and either you've won or you've lost.
Yep.
And because it's very dangerous, if you've been used to sort of bombastic, over the top gameplay, you know, that type of play style doesn't survive long in Dragonbane.
No,
Right?
you can't. You fall in the water and you can die. That is
Water is probably one of the
water is
most
dangerous,
dangerous
man.
things
Who
throughout the
would think that?
entire, and not just the beginning when they were low level, because I was listening.
Oh,
I wasn't
no,
playing at the
no.
time, but when you guys went into that one cave and brains almost got swept away and all this, but I could tell you, water remained lethal
And
through the
up
entire story.
up till the end of our storyline. I'll just say that. And yeah, and it's like we're fighting big bads, and the one session, after we got up fighting one of the big bads, he had jacked them up because they were getting like 3 actions a turn when they fought us. So at first he's doing this to you, then they're doing this. We're like, oh my god, we're gonna die, but we still kill them because there's so many of us, and we've been paying for 40 episodes, so we'd gotten some of our key skills up, and we'd gotten some what are those perks or whatever they're called in the game. But then somebody falls in the water, and you're like doing CPR on them the next turn. They're making death saves. You're like, what the heck happened? It's just water. You got to make all these rolls, and it's like, so Deathbane. It should be Deathbane. Dragonbane can be lethal. I mean, the first game we almost played, we almost lost 2 characters right off the
Yeah.
bat. Then
Yeah, the very first combat, very first episode, right? I think
the very first
beyond the character
episode,
creation, you guys, I wasn't playing, but you guys, yeah, like half
we
the
got
group went
attacked, and
down.
the creature did this much damage to somebody, and it was it would have killed half the party, just the one swipe. That
It was like a couple
character,
goblins,
yeah, a
right?
couple of
It wasn't,
goblins, and they had a
yeah.
warg, and the warg did like 14 or 13 damage, and I'm like, damn, I have 11. I might have been down. And then I have 4, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die. We all thought we were gonna last 5 episodes, and we did.
But what it does do is, if you've been running a long time and
Oh yeah,
and you're frustrated because your party's like fireballing their way out of everything or whatever, I don't, it
or
it
lightning
it
bolt, right?
it, and we've played a lot of games. I think we're pretty good at it. But
Yeah,
there
we
were a
are.
couple, like I mentioned, that one with the river, which I didn't play, but listening to it, I was amazed because, and it's kind of a little spoiler. I don't really remember when this is in the story. I think it's earlier
That
on.
was early.
The group leaves the dungeon
We've
and says,
we've already done
"Hey,
it. We've already done
we
that.
need to take a break." Right?
Yeah,
We have
we
to
did
go and like maybe build something or
make
dry
a
off
fire.
like something, because you don't see that a lot. Like, D&D provides, a lot of safety nets and ways to get back on your feet quickly. And that's good if you want the action to not be broken up, right? You want to have your night, you want to
Oh my
spend, you want to
god.
dungeon crawl, you want to do stuff. But if you're looking to add some grit, some fear, some real fear in your players, Dragonbane's a really
That'll
good
do it.
system for that. Yeah.
Well, we had one character. I won't say who he is, Tim. Who but every can I rest? I just need 15. We're all like, what do you mean? I need to rest. I need willpower. I need to, and it's like, and that became a running thing because willpower is how you power your special abilities or magic. And you can get burned through that real quick. And he was a glass cannon effectively. So for him, it was important. And what we try to do that in one dungeon. And as a game master, you can make it very hard on somebody at that point because all you got to do is have an encounter show up and mess up the rest. So it could be Dragonbane can give you that if you got a group of people that you guys got bored because you're so geeked and kitted out your characters that you can look at somebody and turn them to dust, put them in Dragonbane because you don't get any of that. That is a perk of that system.
Well, one
Um,
big mental shift for players, going from like D&D or Pathfinder or many other game systems, right?
oh,
Is this idea that many monsters do not need to roll to hit you,
that's right. They just
right?
automatically hit.
So I was in it.
Oh,
We were introduced this to us. Our first system was Alien that has this.
yeah, it
So
does.
the Alien game has this. So if you're fighting like a person or like another faction,
Oh, look
their
at this.
rules are like your rules, right? You're like,
Hey, who's?
all the same rules that apply to you apply to the NPCs, right? Skills, rolls, checks. But when you come up against an alien, when it's its turn, it just rolls like a number, right? And that number might be claws you or spits at you or sucks your brain out, right? And that's just it. It doesn't roll to hit. And Dragonbane, the monsters are not treated like other characters, right? They automatically just their attacks just hit. And it's funny, it's so ingrained in our heads that even in many of our, we've been playing this for like a year, you'd still have people ask like, oh, well, did he hit me? Or it's like,
I
we're just
know,
so
right?
used to every other
Can I
system is, oh,
run?
did he? Right. And it's like, no, no, no. He just does this. He fills a room full of fire. You're all burned. It's like,
That
and
little
so,
like no saving throw, no
yeah,
nothing. It's like, okay, how's everybody doing? Just fine. Okay, the guy does this, and a cloud goes up, and each of you take 10 acid damage. You're like, well, did we get to do this?
right.
Did we get to do that? Because it tells you, it's like, how big's the room? Oh, it's 20 meters. It's a 30-meter attack. Can we? No. That's it. It's done. It's just done. You're done, and you're yeah. I had to get used to that because you used to save or auto dodge. You don't got any
Right.
of them
Lots of
cool
lawyers.
little
There's
ass
very few
tricks.
lawyers. There's very few lawyers in
You
Dragonbane.
can't win.
There's not a
I
lot
say
of,
so.
right,
I say
right.
this is a
Right.
tyranny you put upon us. Shut up, lawyer. Bam, take 10 damage. Like, oh god damn
Yeah,
it.
I think
Um,
the question from there was a question that was asked from this last big session was, well, am I in range? And I think the GM asked, well, are you in the room?
yes,
Yes,
that's
then
it.
you're in range.
That was a good question. I just
So
sort of like, but we're so careful. You're so careful in Dragon Bane. Like, well, I climb on back. Can I do this? Because you overthink shit. Because you think you're going to drown. I don't know what else to say. Um, Aliens is a little different because it's aliens, and if you played Aliens, it's like, God, some of this is some of the rolls. It's the roll, like what type of damage you take. You could lose your leg. Chris, your good friend Chris, that happened to them. His ankle got blown off or something, and he spent the whole game being carried. And then at the end, my character who was doing great gets their head freaking blown off. Just by chance. So that was a shocker. Yeah, matter of fact, I do mean this. Ever since we started doing this, I never had character deaths till we started playing freaking playing online like this. So
so I don't know this one. I think so. You guys, so they play. I think some of the folks they're playing Heart of Darkness.
the Alien Heart of
Which I'm
Darkness,
very
that's
jealous
great. Oh
that
yeah,
we can't
jeez, I
really do
love
it for
that.
we haven't been able to do it for the podcast. But so Nathan, I think some of the other Chris and them, but yeah, so I'm just going to read this from our Discord. They're talking about like character
Oh,
injuries
you're gonna
from
rate
in Alien.
Oh,
And
Jesus
Chris
Christ.
wrote, what did he write here? Everyone has historically poor record of limb retention in Aliens. My current character is missing her right arm. A crewmate is missing their left. And I think there's a missing leg too and a missing ear, but they tore that one off themselves and we
Yep,
can't blame the aliens for that. So I don't know
that's
what's
true.
going on in that game, but clearly limbs are being lost like left socks
Oh
in
my
aliens. So
Aliens is like
another great game to make your players afraid.
Yep. I will always, from now on, I'm going to make this decision now. I will always play a leader. I'm going to in that game if I can get away with it. It's just too much fun. It's too much fun. That and Twilight. Twilight 2000 also a great game. We don't play it
Yep.
as Russ as Dork Day. Dork Day plays it brutal. We played it a little lighter, but still fucking good game, man. God damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait to. Oh, look at this. The Walking Dead. Yes, The Walking Dead and Amputation to our thing. No shit. We played it first time on our Geek Weekend. Who's Carl? And my character, who was a badass, he's blowing the fuck out of people. Somebody throws a Molotov cocktail. He fails twice, and armor doesn't work against fire apparently at all. Though I wore riot gear, and it actually, well, I won't get into that story. But if fire does work against riot gear, riot gear does work against fire. I'll just leave it at that. But it's
From experience.
from experience. Uh, but it didn't work. So my character got melted. I was going to take the guy from Fallout, New Vegas.
Oh, the bounty hunter guy, the
No.
ghoul.
That's the guy who goes from you go to new. It's one of the DLCs, but I was going to play the Burned Man. Remember that guy? The Burned, the religious. He was going to be if he survived. If we ever play it again, and my friend Tim lets him somehow come back. But great game, by the way. Also, The Walking Dead, another great game. Who's Carl? Thanks for bringing it up. Another one I wouldn't mind playing. Matt, you want to take a second and do your?
So you might notice that The Walking Dead wasn't on the list
because
of games,
there's a reason
and so
for
there
that.
are some games that are not on there because we did not feel that they would be good for short run games.
Yeah,
and so Tim really wants to run Walking Dead with us
long term.
He has an idea, but so much of The Walking Dead, the game ties in with sort of your anchors, your connections, right, to other players, to NPCs, to your community, these outcomes. There's a lot of social tension and interaction. That's very hard to develop in like 3 or 4 gaming sessions, right? Very hard to become attached or develop bonds between characters. And so we would love to play Walking Dead, but if we do, it will be a longer run.
Yeah, it'll be at one of our recorded sessions, more than likely.
Yeah.
So Tim, by the way, I'm going to give a credit to Tim, who plays our game, but as a game master, he comes up with some interesting stuff. And I'll say this: so two of our geek weekends ago, we played a vampire game, and we were trapped in a facility. Now, at the end of the game, we found out at the end we were vampires in a zombie apocalypse. That was the whole thing. We were being for the zombie apocalypse, and if we continued, we didn't have enough time. We were going to be fighting zombies. I'm like, how the hell did you pull this out of here? Because it was a vampire game, but he added zombies to it. So that's Tim. So if Tim never does run that game, and he will, and you see it pop up, please listen, because he's very good with those stories. He's very good.
He's very creative.
He's very creative, man.
What system did he use? That weird one we were going in and out of the tent. That was a different world, and there was that dog. Like it was a
I don't remember. I didn't play that. I didn't play that.
Oh, he ran this one that was like a nightmare. It was like this weird. Yeah, so he's got some very strange, sort of concepts.
Tim's a strange man.
Yes,
he is a strange man. I just don't want to I'll just leave it at that. Lives down, by the way, lives in suburbia for Northern Virginia. He's just, if you ever see him, run. Just run.
Are you doxing him?
Yes, just run. No, not doxing. No, there's like 1 million people live in that area.
He does have some interesting stories.
Yes, he does. God.
So yeah,
nothing terrible,
very,
guys.
Very interesting. No, but very interesting. Some very interesting life stories. So maybe we'll see some Walking Dead, but yeah, I got it. You got to like a game that actually has written rules in there for how you can throw your buddy. You can sacrifice your buddy in combat to the zombies to escape. And
that's one of the tricks. You can kneecap your friend to get away, like trip them up and go. As long as I run faster than you, bang.
They really did a good job. They could have just slapped, the Mutant Zero rules onto the, the name Walking Dead. But one thing that I've been pretty impressed with Free League is that each one of the different franchises sort of that they've got these games for, there are components of them that lend themselves to that game, right? There's mechanics in The Walking Dead that really makes it feel like you're in the Walking Dead story, right? The things like, because there are parts where people have sacrificed other people, or there's the rule that allows you like this one last ditch miracle kind of way to survive, but you're kind of kind of reminiscent to when Glenn was hiding underneath. Everyone thought Glenn was dead the first time, right? He's hiding underneath that truck, right? There's a lot of stuff in the rules that make you you can go, oh, I can kind of picture this rule from this episode, right? Or
if you ever watch the episodes, there's stuff taken right from the show, the series, and the comics, actually.
So I give them credit for really being able to capture, the feel of these franchises in their game mechanics.
No, it's good. It's good. It's
enjoy really all good. The amputations and
all the
rolls and everything else
It's not tuned, but it's okay.
Right.
But so So we've talked about that. That's great. We talked about our live shows. We talked about, how much we enjoy this. And let's see, let's put this nice comment. He was a quiet young man, kept to himself. 3 days later, they find him in the basement filled with the bodies. That is an appropriate
Yes.
comment. And here's another one. Who's Carl? I love The Walking Dead. It might be my current favorite. I haven't done the campaign yet. Hope to soon. I recommend you do it. If you do, get back with us. Let us know how it goes. Because we the taste we had, we played over what, 4 hours, I want to say. Or was it the whole day?
We played like a whole. I mean, we probably
I think we played the whole
solid 8 hours.
We
right?
played a solid 8 hours of it, and it was good. And we had to push the story along, mind you. And we were using the Wolves storyline with the Wolves, the guys carved W in their head, and worked out well. But he did the dynamic of the party. He did some stuff like was it the woman running off with the guy, taking supplies, like straight, and then somebody trying to take over the group, and the stuff that you would see in any group, right? That's sort of those PCs are great. They are great. But you get that drama, and that's in the books, by the way. It's like you get that sort of like real life guys, and like it's not like people don't act like normally in a movie, like everybody gets together and works together. There's always some dickhead out there for themselves, it's there's always somebody who's going to try and undermine and drama, and there's still people getting in fights and arguing, even if it endangers the whole group, right? They do dumb stuff. And this, as a player character, you're dealing with that, trying to mitigate that. Because usually in the game, everybody's working, hi ho, here we go, walking through the woods, Snow White. It's not that way in The Walking Dead. It can be very dynamic, and it could literally result in you all being eaten. Oh, and when you fail rolls, zombies show up. They just show up. Like you're walking and you do this and you fail really bad, and a hand comes out of the ground and grabs you because there's a little mound of some leaves they were hiding under, and they try and eat you. It's like that quick, right? Which adds that little air. It's sort of cool. It's cool.
There's no safe spot.
There's no safe
There's
place.
no safe
That's
place,
where,
right? Yeah.
There's no such thing as a safe zone in The Walking Dead, it's a nice change. It's not horrible, like, but I thought it was great. I really did. I liked it. Then we go to D&D. Let's talk about D&D. Let's
It's
not talk
almost
about
10
D&D.
o'clock. Yeah, hey, Shaw, listen.
Oh, we got 4 minutes left. Yeah.
So that's just, so we wanted to share sort of, given that we didn't have anything else planned for today, that we just kind of share kind of our plans. We're coming up, we got some milestones as far as like, this April it'll be our 4th year.
Yeah. 4
years.
years.
And I know for YouTube, we're getting very close to 100,000 views, which is insane. So please watch our video.
We have 1,008 subscribers, by the way.
80.
It's 80.
Yeah.
80, that's right.
84. Yeah.
Now I'm scared.
Well over that. No, but we almost 100,000 views. And I know there's big channels.
568 videos.
Tons of views.
Jesus.
But like I said, thank you for watching. Thank you for putting it on when you go to work and leave it running all day.
Why do you people watch us? We're not that great. We're not funny.
We hope to keep entertaining, and we intend to have fun. And we think that this live format will let us kind of selfishly enjoy, our obsession with playing different games and sharing it with you. And while we keep Nathan locked into a basement
I promise you this, on one of our live, we will have a live game when we drink again, and I will have some hot dog water, and that will be funny. Yeah, I'll just have to make sure, I don't wake my wife and kid up when I stumble out of the room when we're done gaming.
Well, so I'm just waiting
let's
to the end.
show our merch.
I didn't break. Yeah, so I'm just after getting.
I almost got us through, guys. I'm sorry. I tried.
Beaten up last week about our no. Yeah. So if you have been enjoying the Dragonbane show or just our show in general, you can head over to the aarpgs.com, and we have information about the cast. We've got episodes, some of our other stuff on there. But very importantly, if you want to show your geek chic, we've got original artwork and design for almost all of our shows. mostly our Dragonbane and our general logos and stuff. So of course, yeah, if you don't have enough hats, t-shirts, coasters, and coffee mugs, and you need
Yeah.
something more, just head on over and
Or a
pick it
hoodie,
up.
right?
Or a hoodie, which I have heard it's very comfortable.
Yeah.
And
Somebody named
so
Darcy says they're very
that's right.
comfortable.
It's very comfortable. So that's it. That's my full pitch, right? So Sean, back to you to bring us
Take
home
care,
for this
Who's.
impromptu evening.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
and I want to
Thanks.
say, yeah, thank care, Who's, Carl, man. That's a good person right there. So anyway, if you like, I just want to say, and if any of our 24 prior podcasts, like we just had big campaign on recently, Acid and Steel, with Joel Clark, Dork Day, Tales of the Manicore, Electric State, Orcus Dorcas. I could go on. Check them out because they give great insight into their games and what they like. Each of our guests, we don't just talk about their games or whatever. We talk about their experiences, and it's nice to hear other people. It's what we do, and we all like talking about this stuff. So, our goal was to keep growing that out. We're going to have some of these people back on again. We're going to reach back out to them, follow up. Just so we can all see what they're doing and they can see what we're doing. So please enjoy. Watch our games. Thank you, Darcy. I'm glad to join us. Number one fan there, at least for this podcast.
That's
Number
right.
one fan. And I wish you all the best. All of you guys the best. And we'll be back on next week with a guest, right?
That's
And then the
right.
following week we won't have a guest, but we will have a script and we'll come up with some more cool stuff to talk about.
Or we'll just randomly sit around and talk about stuff.
Yeah. All right. But hey, listen, if you've been on this side of the country, we're in the north, we're not in the
Cold.
I just realized with Carl. See, I should have asked him if he had been in the fire zones, but we over on this side of the country where I'm in Pittsburgh, Matt's down in Virginia. We've been cold as shit. It's like I was -7 this morning for me and -9 the day before. I'm in Pittsburgh, right? So
yeah, so I don't feel so bad. It was 10 degrees this morning. So yeah, it was nice and warm for me apparently.
Yeah, but stay warm, stay fun, enjoy yourselves, and hey, thanks for joining us again. And peace, love, and bubble gum. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.